Mark Hamill is always pandering toward the woke mob, always. And this time, justifying the headcanon that Luke Skywalker is gay. Mark Hamill says, well, of course. Of course, if you think he's gay, of course. You can just make up any sexuality to any character you want. One minute he's kissing his sister, the next he's gay. All right, then. This is a lot to keep up with. Once again, this is constantly happening with properties and characters that have existed for a very long time and who have not been a part of X, Y, or Z or LGB or T. And they just want to change things, just want to make them that because they want the headlines, because they want to pander to the woke peeps. All that sort of thing. We see it time and time again with the multitude of characters, and we're probably going to be seeing this with Lara Croft according to some leaks that we have seen recently with her and her new female love interest. So this keeps happening. Instead of just making new characters and making them LGBT, they are just hijacking old ones and saying, well, of course, wait a minute. This character is LGBT. Wow, okay. Let's just dive into this video and see what kind of stuff is going on right now. I'm pretty sure the Wikipedia listed Luke Skywalker as a he, they. Okay? However kind of sense that is supposed to make, because I thought they, them were for non-binary people. So if you are a he, they, you're already a part of the binary. What's next? Are we going to have he, her pronouns? The clown world keeps getting clownerier. It's like they keep making up more and more things. So now you can be non-binary and binary. All right, that reminds me of this other TikTok video I saw of someone saying she was trigender. It was every bit of embarrassing as it sounds, but this is just where we're at. So the post-millennial says here, Luke Skywalker is LGBTQRSTUV plus according to Star Wars community. Mark Hamill, because he gets to choose apparently. All right, the Star Wars community and Mark Hamill himself insists that Luke Skywalker is gay. All right. The most iconic character in Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, is now listed among LGBTQ plus individuals on authoritative Star Wars fan encyclopedia, Wikipedia. The online wiki for Star Wars fandom, Wikipedia updated its LGBT plus individuals page to include Luke Skywalker based on a recent short story by activist writer Sam Maggs, reports Bounding Into Comics. All right, so here we see the LGBTQ plus individuals. This also, it's just like, why? Why is everyone so freaking obsessed with everybody's sexuality? What? It's just getting weird. This is what makes things seem super cult-like, is that even in fiction, even in properties that have long existed, everyone is just so obsessed with, wait, what is this character's sexuality? What is that character's sexuality? Instead of the overarching story. These kind of peoples have taken over the nerddom space in general. I have talked about this in so many videos to where this is why in gaming, we see gameplay taking a backseat to story, to fancy cinematics. They are pandering to the most lowest common denominator people who call themselves gamers, or in this case nerds, or in this case like Star Wars fans, so on and so forth. They don't really care that much about the actual properties themselves. They don't care about gaming. I mean, this is why gaming has been babied down severely on a wide scale. Because they don't want the actual source. They don't want the actual materials. They don't really want to be involved in the actual fandoms, but they want to just ship people. They just want to obsess about who everybody's sleeping with and make fanships. And they want them to be canon so freaking bad. That's what they obsess about. And this is just where we're at. This is what's going on. So one Twitter user asked Wikipedia about Luke's LGBTQ plus categorization and wrote, Not trolling in any way, but what is the rationale for Luke being included in the LGBTQ plus list? Not saying there isn't one. I am just really not familiar with anything defining his gender, sexuality, etc. in canon besides for maybe a girlfriend in the comics. And then they replied with, there is a story in which he felt romantic feelings toward a guy, the wiki replied, later clarifying short story Luke on the bright side, okay? This is what he says. All right, where is it though? Where is it? The story itself appeared in Stories of Jedi and Sith, published by Lucasfilm Press in June 2022, a book targeted for the age range of 9 through 12, of course. Because, of course, indoctrinate the children, okay? They think they can just retcon something. They can throw something in, like, not even a freaking year ago. Half a year ago, barely over half a year ago. And, oh, this is canon now. All right, this is just going to erase everything, all of the history about Luke Skywalker. Because some activists wanted to insert this in a story. So now it's real, okay? This many decades later, right? According to Bounding Into Comics, the actual story doesn't appear to show any romantic feelings expressed by Luke Skywalker toward Sergeant Ray Hollis of Alliance Special Forces, despite Sam Mag's clear history of pushing her activism into her stories. Okay, so apparently that's not even a thing. They just want to jump through hoops. So I obviously haven't read this, but like I said here, and like I read here, according to Bounding Into Comics, there was no actual romantic story there. But apparently people will overread into absolutely anything. You see this also with Tomb Raider as well. You see in the Tomb Raider community, people will just say like, oh, of course Lara Croft was a lesbian. Did you see how she looked at this female character? Just because she looked at her during a dialogue, they had some sort of conversation. But granted, with the new Lara Croft, who they've changed so dramatically anyway, she's not even the same person. She's not the same character. I don't give a crap anymore. I honestly don't. She's not the same person. So whatever this new Lara Croft is, what she does, who she hooks up with, I don't give a crap anymore. I just don't. And it's funny that at the time of me recording this video, it is Lara Croft's birthday. To the classic, the one and only, right? And I didn't even like it when classic Lara Croft was when they tried to shoehorn a love interest with her in any capacity, which they didn't in the games. But for some reason, everybody was so obsessed with her sexuality. I think it's stupid even in that way, right? Because here's a character who, even when they tried to force a relationship with her with dude characters, like she was a character who was married to her work. She was so obsessed with a life of reckless, just adrenaline rush adventure and grave robbing that she didn't care about dating. She didn't care about any of that. She ended her engagement with the Earl of Farrington, and that's what got her disowned by her parents anyway. She didn't want any of that. She was just obsessed with her work, and that was it. That's where she got all of her gratification. She also was kind of psychotic. And so yeah, just I don't think inserting or shoehorning any type of romance, even in like the old school comics or the old school movies, none of that. I always thought that was stupid, Lara Croft, regardless. And I think it's stupid when they do this stuff now. And in this case, where they try to shoehorn a romance of an LGBTQ type romance or situation that didn't exist previously, because they just want the points, the internet points that they think they're gonna get. All right, so after the story's publication, Twitter users commented on the romance into the story. The Way-Seeking Jedi wrote, I just read Luke on the Bright Side from Star Wars Stories of Jedi and Sith, and you can't tell me this is not a romance. Now I have to know, Sam Maggs, is Luke Skywalker canonically queer? Please tell me he is, they said. The fact you even had to ask, if it's so obvious, then why are you asking? Why'd you have to ask? Not only that, can this same person just retcon and change everything about Luke this late in the game? Does this person have that kind of power? Me after every page of Luke on the Bright Side by Sam Maggs. My goodness, these rebels gay. Good for them. Good for them. Another tweeted, because that's all they care about. That's all these, like, instead of actually being fans of the source material, all these like people who've hijacked the fandom, they care more about the ships. They care more about that. For some reason, it's just weird and it's creepy, honestly. The recent controversy over whether or not Luke Skywalker is gay is not even the beginning of it. According to a Vanity Fair article from 2016, when J.J. Abrams was a creator with the franchise, he said that Star Wars should have more characters who identify as non-straight. Mark Hamill, who played Luke, suggested in an interview at the time that Luke could be gay. Vanity Fair reported that Hamill said, "Of course Luke is gay." Because Mark Hamill gets to choose, apparently. Hamill said, "Fans are writing and ask all these questions. I'm bullied in school. I'm afraid to come out, they say to me. Could Luke be gay? I'd say it is meant to be interpreted by the viewer. If you think Luke is gay, of course he is. You should not be ashamed of it. Judge Luke by his character, not by who he loves." I mean, I think this last sentence is pretty good, but no, you can't just sit and choose what character's sexuality is. If a person made them a certain way, then that's how they made them. An op-ed from science fiction and fantasy genre subject site Tor addressed Hamill's comments in 2016 in an article titled "Do Not Make Luke Skywalker Another Tragic Gay Character." Emmett Ash Perrin wrote, "If he were suddenly revealed as a gay character in lieu of all that, his sexuality could be perceived by the audience as tragedy. But I can't read today. Poor Luke Skywalker, who devoted his life to others and never got the things that he wanted for himself." Also, I just have to point out and rewind a little bit that when talking about Luke's sexuality, why is Mark referencing children? Why is it always about children? That is just weird. I don't think that children should be having discussions about sexuality. They just shouldn't. This is something, let them figure this stuff out as they get older. But to talk about this and then to talk about children, it's weird, it's creepy, and it just comes off as grooming. Okay, I do feel like there are certain people in the LGBTQ community, namely the T and the Q, who are obsessed with, and of course not all of them, but there is a huge chunk of them, especially the Q. I'd say this movement would probably be better off cutting off the Q altogether. Used to, back in the day when people used the word queer, that was derogatory and the gay community didn't like it. Well, now people who want to be in on the LGB community, they want to be in on it, but they don't actually fit in on it. Then they just, oh, okay, well, Q is this umbrella that fits every fetish or weird thing, right? And that's just kind of where it's at. I feel like LGBT people especially would benefit them to kind of start ignoring the Q. They're causing nothing but harm to all of their entire movement, they're just trying to live their lives and mind their own business. The ones who are doing that and not the ones who are just wanting Twitter points and inserting themselves into things for Twitter points. Yeah. I can't even imagine how frustrating it must be for them. That's why, like, I think the Gays Against Groomers account on Twitter and all that stuff, you love to see stuff like that, because it's just like this whole movement, it's messing things up for them. It really is. All right, so let's continue reading this. Asher Perrin put Luke Skywalker in the context of Dumbledore from the Harry Potter franchise, who had been retconned as homosexual. See, that's something else J.K. Rowling did, and then now, of course, the Alphabet Army is after her. And, well, you know, when you pander to a group of activists, then you sidestep or have any sort of nuanced opinion that's different than them, then they'll come for you. Doesn't matter how much you've pandered for them before, so stop pandering to them, period. Which added layers of unintentional meaning to the already established biography of the character. William Shatner, who played the iconic Star Trek Captain Kirk, waded into the controversy over a potentially gay Luke in 2021 when he pointed out that Luke got married to a woman in Star Wars. Luke got married in Star Wars canon. So unless Tatooine was repressive and he was hiding it, looks like he chose a woman named Mara. Would you look at that? Others pointed out that Luke and his wife had a child and named the child Ben. Luke Skywalker with his wife Mara Jade and their newborn son Ben. Disney, which backs international LGBTQ advocacy group GLSEN, and has opposed legislation protecting parental rights in cases where schools seek to keep students' gender identity secret, is no stranger to employing the latest trends in diversity as part of their programming and ethos. As the site Sportskeeda reports, the change of Luke Skywalker's orientation is one of many moves towards diversity and representation. Why people are so obsessed with diversity and representation. That's another thing. This is widespread narcissism, okay? That Wikipedia has embraced. Recently, a controversy emerged regarding adding preferred pronouns to all Star Wars characters on Wikipedia. Some felt that this was unnecessary and went against the original spirit of the space opera. Others thought it was an important step towards creating a more inclusive and diverse universe. The site reports, honestly, you don't need to put that's a whole other discussion, which is just stupid. It's just, and then they have Luke Skywalker as he, they, which makes zero sense for people who keep pioneering and pushing trust the science all the time. They sure like to pick and choose what science they trust, don't they? Okay, so anyway, there you have it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.